All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning, I'm Sunil Verma and with me is Subhadra Ramachandran. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address the UN General Assembly in New York this evening. Quad is a force for global good, says Prime Minister Modi. Asserts Quad countries have come together for welfare of humanity. US President Joe Biden appreciates India's decision to resume COVID-19 vaccine exports from next month. Holds wide-ranging in-person discussions with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Make in India initiative completes 7 years today. Cooperation Minister Amit Shah to address first mega conference of cooperatives in New Delhi this morning. Final results of UPSC Civil Services Examination 2020 announced. Shubham Kumar tops the rankings. High-power transmitters at one of world's highest radio stations in Kargil to be inaugurated today. Sensex roars above the psychological 60,000 mark to create stock market history. And in IPL cricket, Chennai Super Kings beat Royal Challengers Bangalore by 6 wickets in Sharjah last night to top the table. As the nationwide free COVID-19 vaccination campaign at government facilities for those above 18 years is underway, we advise our young listeners to get vaccinated and also help others get vaccinated. We also advise our listeners not to lower their guard as COVID-19 remains a threat to our health. Please stay at home unless it is essential to go out and continue to follow these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, and focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. And now the news in details. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said Quad is a force for global good and the discussions with Quad leaders were extensive and productive. In his opening statement at the Quad summit held in Washington, he said the 4 nations met for the first time after 2004 tsunami to help the Indo-Pacific region, and today, when the world is combating COVID-19 pandemic, Quad countries have come together once again for the welfare of humanity.
2016 में 2014 में मुझे आपसे विस्तार से बात करने का मौका मिला और उस समय आपने भारत अमेरिका के संबंधों आपका जो विजन है जिसको आपने शब्दबद्ध किया था वो वाकई बहुत ही प्रेरक और आज आप राष्ट्रपति के रूप में उस विजन को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए जो पुरुषार्थ कर रहे हैं, प्रयास कर रहे हैं, इनिशिएटिव ले रहे हैं, इसका मैं स्वागत करता हूँ.
US President Joe Biden said US vaccine initiative is on track to produce an additional 1 billion doses of vaccine in India to boost global supply. Welcoming Prime Minister Modi, Prime Minister Morrison and Prime Minister Suga to White House for Quad's in-person meeting, Mr. Biden said this group has democratic partners who share worldview and have common vision for the future. He said this group is coming together to face key challenges of the recent times.
Our vaccine initiative is on track to produce an additional 1 billion doses of vaccine in India to boost global supply. And today, we're also launching a new Quad Fellowship for students from each of our Quad countries to pursue advanced degrees in leading STEM programs here in the United States. It represents an investment in the leaders, innovators, and pioneers of tomorrow.
Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison said Quad is about demonstrating how democracies such as these 4 nations can get things done. In his opening statement at the Quad summit, Mr. Morrison said there is no part of the world that is more dynamic than Indo-Pacific at this time.
We believe in a free and open Indo-Pacific because we know that's what delivers a strong, stable and prosperous region so our citizens, our peoples, can realise their hopes and dreams for their futures in a liberal and free society. The Quad is about demonstrating how democracies such as ours, as you said, Mr. President, can get things done. Region that has extraordinary opportunity, wide diversity, great wealth, but many challenges that must be overcome. And we see the role of our nations We see our home in the Indo-Pacific as the place that we wish to focus on to ensure that our peoples can realise everything they would have for themselves.
Japanese Prime Minister Suga said the Quad nations cherish their shared values. He pointed out whether it's regional issues or COVID, Quad has addressed many of them. Mr. Suga said, till date, Quad has given its absolute cooperation in big sectors. Earlier, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Joe Biden met at the Oval Office in the White House. The two leaders gave a clarion call to write a new chapter in the fight against COVID-19, climate change, and to ensure stability in the Indo-Pacific region. Mr. Modi praised the role played by President Biden and the United States in tackling the challenges of COVID-19. He underlined the importance of a strong and vibrant Indo-US ties for a better world. President Biden said the two nations have a shared responsibility to democratic values, commitment to the welfare of the people, and family ties. President Biden said the global community looks forward to the ideals of Mahatma Gandhi as the world celebrates his birthday next week. Prime Minister Modi said Mahatma Gandhi always used to talk about trusteeship of the planet, and this sentiment of trusteeship has to be carried forward by India and United States for global good. In the delegation-level talks, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, and Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla were present. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has reached New York to address the 76th session of UNGA, United Nations General Assembly.
U.S. President Joe Biden has appreciated the decision of the Government of India to resume exports of COVID-19 vaccines from October. Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla said that President Biden said this during his first in-person meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Earlier, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said at Quad's request, India would make available 8 million doses of Johnson & Johnson's Janssen vaccine manufactured in India by Biological E. He said this would be ready by October end and compatible with India's decision to resume vaccine export. Addressing a special press briefing on Prime Minister Narendra Modi's second day of engagements in the U.S., Shringla said the discussions were wide-ranging, including on vaccines. Mr. Shringla said during his meeting with U.S. President, Prime Minister Modi highlighted the issue of getting access for Indian professionals to U.S. and mentioned about H-1B visas. Mr. Shringla said the President assured the Prime Minister that the issue will be looked into.
The Prime Minister raised a number of issues that involved the Indian community. He spoke of the issue of getting access for Indian professionals to the United States. In that context, he mentioned the H-1B visa. He also spoke of the fact that many Indian professionals who worked here contribute to Social Security. The return of those contributions when they leave the United States is something that did affect a number of Indian nationals who worked here, and that he requested that this matter be looked into.
The Foreign Secretary informed that there was strong emphasis on trade and economic relations. The Prime Minister appreciated the solidarity shown by the U.S. when India was undergoing the crisis of COVID second wave. President Biden placed on record his appreciation for India as a country that has extended assistance to countries across the world even when it was undergoing crisis. Shringla said the meeting was characterized by warmth and cordiality and both productive and timely. The leaders acknowledged that the comprehensive global strategic partnership between the two countries was firmly anchored in a shared commitment to democratic values and common strategic interests. Shringla added that though the discussions were wide-ranging, importance was placed on dealing and combating with COVID crisis by both leaders. The leaders were able to brief each other on their experiences.
India and Japan have reaffirmed their commitment to advancing efforts to facilitate the smooth and timely implementation of the Mumbai-Ahmedabad High-Speed Rail MAHSR project. Prime Minister Narendra Modi discussed MAHSR with his Japanese counterpart Yoshihide Suga on the sidelines of the Quad Leaders Summit. The two Prime Ministers expressed happiness at their first in-person meeting. Mr. Modi congratulated Prime Minister Suga for successfully hosting the Tokyo Olympics and Paralympic Games in the midst of a global pandemic.
Union Public Service Commission announced the final result of Civil Services Examination 2020 yesterday. A total number of 761 candidates have been recommended for appointment. Shubham Kumar has become the top ranker, followed by Jagriti Avasthi, and Ankita Jain has got third rank. Talking to AIR News, topper Shubham Kumar expressed happiness over the result.
2018 जनवरी से मैंने तैयारी स्टार्ट की। 3 साल का ये जर्नी था और मेरा जो ऑप्शनल सब्जेक्ट था वो एंथ्रोपोलॉजी था। अभी लास्ट ईयर मेरा सिलेक्शन हो गया था सिविल सर्विसेज। आई वाज नॉट एक्सपेक्टिंग टू बी इन द लिस्ट एट द फर्स्ट प्लेस एंड व्हेन आई सॉ द लिस्ट आई वाज लिटिल बिट शॉक्ड बट माय फ्रेंड्स एंड माय फैमिली दे वर वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट इन मी।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated the candidates who successfully cleared the UPSC Civil Services examination. In a series of tweets today, Mr. Modi said an exciting and satisfying career in public service awaits them. He said those who have cleared the exam will go on to have key administrative roles during an important period of our nation's journey. Mr. Modi said those young friends who did not clear the UPSC examination are also very talented individuals and there are more attempts awaiting. He said India is full of diverse opportunities waiting to be explored.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address the UN General Assembly in New York this evening. Quad is a force for global good, says Prime Minister Modi. Asserts Quad countries have come together for welfare of humanity. US President Joe Biden appreciates India's decision to resume COVID-19 vaccine exports from next month. Holds wide-ranging in-person discussions with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Make in India initiative completes 7 years today. Cooperation Minister Amit Shah to address first mega conference of cooperatives in New Delhi this morning. Final results of UPSC Civil Services Examination 2020 announced. Shubham Kumar tops the rankings. High power transmitters at one of world's highest radio stations in Kargil to be inaugurated today. Sensex roars above the psychological 60,000 mark to create stock market history. And in IPL cricket, Chennai Super Kings beat Royal Challengers Bangalore by 6 wickets in Sharjah last night to top the table. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
आजादी के आंदोलन के खजाने में ऐसे ढेरों शब्द जिन्होंने बदल दिए इतिहास। तारीख बदलने वाले लफ्जों पर आकाशवाणी समाचार ला रहा है विशेष कार्यक्रम धरोहर हर सोमवार।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will share his thoughts with the people in the country and abroad in the Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio tomorrow. It will be the 81st episode of the monthly radio program. It will be broadcast on the entire network of AIR and Doordarshan and also on AIR News website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR mobile app. It will also be streamed live on the YouTube channels of AIR, DD News, PMO and Information and Broadcasting Ministry. AIR will broadcast the program in regional languages immediately after the Hindi broadcast. The regional language versions will be repeated at 8 in the evening. Cooperation Minister Amit Shah will address the first mega conference of cooperatives in New Delhi today. Minister of State for Cooperation B.L. Barma and International Cooperatives Alliance Global President Ariel Guarco will also be present at the event. Crores of people linked to cooperative bodies across the world will join the program virtually. Over 2,000 people associated with cooperatives will be present at the venue of the program in New Delhi. During the event, Mr. Shah will outline the government's vision and roadmap for the development of the cooperative sector.
The Health Ministry has said that more than 84 crore 82 lakh 80,000 vaccine doses have been administered in the country till last evening. The ministry said more than 64 lakh 58,000 vaccine doses were administered yesterday. 31,382 new cases were reported in the last 24 hours and over 32,542 recoveries were recorded in the same period, taking the recovery rate to 97.78%. Tamil Nadu has registered 1,733 COVID cases yesterday. 1,631 COVID patients were discharged after recovery. A total of 27 deaths were reported in the last 24 hours. A slight increase of 17,196 active cases were reported yesterday. 1,58,075 samples were tested yesterday.
Bihar government is further relaxing COVID-19 restrictions from tomorrow. The government has allowed all Anganwadi centers and pre-primary schools to reopen across the state. This decision was taken at a meeting of Crisis Management Group, which was headed by Chief Minister Nitish Kumar. Mr. Kumar said authorities of districts concerned would issue orders for procession and crowd management during upcoming festivals. Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur will inaugurate high-power transmitters at one of the world's highest radio stations at Hambutingla in Kargil. More from our Leh correspondent.
At an altitude of 13,300 feet from mean sea level, each 10 kilowatt high-power transmitters of All India Radio, FM radio station and Doordarshan will improve the transmission and the reach in the region, especially in Kargil and Batalik sectors. With the inauguration of highest elevated transmitters, people in the mountainous region would get better quality services of All India Radio and Doordarshan. The new transmitters are part of government's efforts to improve information reach to the public, especially to the bordering villages in Ladakh. Anayat Ali in Kargil, Ramesh Chandra for All India Radio News, Leh.
Manufacturing sector is making strides in the development of the Indian economy. To make the country self-reliant in the sector, the centre launched the Make in India initiative on the 25th of September 2014 under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The initiative is aimed at facilitating investment, fostering innovation and building best-in-class manufacturing infrastructure. Since the launch of the Make in India initiative, the country witnessed stellar performance in its growth and development. It helped in ease of doing the business procedures and enhanced skill development. It also created a conducive environment for investment and opened new sectors for foreign investment. It also helped in forging a partnership between government and industry.
हमने भारत की अर्थव्यवस्था को जिस प्रकार के बदलाव लाना है, उस बदलाव में एक तरफ मैन्युफैक्चरिंग ग्रोथ को बढ़ाना है, एट द सेम टाइम उसका सीधा बेनिफिट हिंदुस्तान के नौजवानों को मिले, उसे रोजगार मिले ताकि गरीब से गरीब परिवार की आर्थिक स्थिति में बदलाव आए, वो गरीबी से मिडिल क्लास की ओर बढ़े और उसका परचेजिंग पावर बढ़े, तो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग की संख्या बढ़ेगी, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग का ग्रोथ बढ़ेगा, रोजगार के अवसर उपलब्ध होंगे, फिर एक बार बाजार बढ़ेगा। ये एक ऐसा चक्र है, उस चक्र को आगे बढ़ाने की दिशा में ये महत्वपूर्ण काम आज ये शेर का कदम है, ये लाइन का स्टेप है, मेक इन इंडिया।
The centre has taken various measures to promote the manufacturing sector. Recently, it launched National Single Window System as a one-stop for taking all the regulatory approvals and services. It will further improve the ease of doing business in India for international and local businesses. Production-linked incentives, PLI, have also been brought in to make the country Atmanirbhar and to enhance the manufacturing capabilities. The government has earmarked 1.97 lakh crore rupees for different PLI schemes for 13 key sectors.
हमने प्रोडक्ट लिंक इंसेंटिव स्कीम को इंट्रोड्यूस किया है और इस योजना के अंतर्गत भारत कैसे एक मैन्युफैक्चरिंग और एक्सपोर्ट हब बने, इसके लिए हम प्रोडक्शन वैल्यू पर 5 से 6% का इंसेंटिव दे रहे हैं। हमारे जो इस वर्ष की बजट घोषणा रही उसमें 1,97,000 करोड़ का हमने एक आउटले भी इसके लिए घोषणा की है। इसके अलावा जो वर्ल्ड बैंक की ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस रिपोर्ट है उसमें हमने देखा कि भारत ने कैसे 142वीं पोजीशन से 63वीं पोजीशन पे उछाल दिखाई है।
As our nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, a series of events is being organized by the government as a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Let's listen to our special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. India's glorious fight for freedom is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. Every day, AIR News brings you a glimpse of the valiant struggle.
In today's episode, we will bring you the story of the great freedom fighter, Prafulla Chandra Sen, who spent over 10 years in various jails between 1930 to 1942 for anti-British activities.
Today, the 25th of September, marks the death anniversary of a man who was a die-hard nationalist. Prafulla Chandra Sen always remained committed to Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy of grassroots democracy and a self-reliant rural economy. He also served as the Chief Minister of West Bengal from 1962 to 1967.
Sen was born in village Senhati in Khulna district of Bengal on 10th April 1897. After graduating, he wanted to move to England for higher studies. But his ambitions changed after hearing Mahatma Gandhi's speech in 1920. Influenced by Gandhi's speech, Sen abandoned his plans of studying abroad and joined Mahatma's call for mass non-cooperation movement against the British.
O amar desher mati tomar pore thakai matha.
In 1923, Sen moved to Arambagh in the Hooghly district, which became his laboratory for Gandhian experiments on Swadeshi and Satyagraha. Arambagh was an underdeveloped and malaria-infested area of Bengal where Sen worked hard for its betterment. For his efforts, Sen was affectionately called the Gandhi of Arambagh. He was elected to the Bengal Assembly from Arambagh in 1944 and was deputy leader of the opposition.
In 1948, he was inducted by then Chief Minister Dr. Bidhan Chandra Roy into the West Bengal Cabinet as Minister of Agriculture. After Roy's death in 1962, Sen became West Bengal's third Chief Minister. To his last, he remained a bachelor with an undemanding, selfless and principled lifestyle. Sen died in Kolkata on 25th September 1990, but his conviction towards the society is a lesson for all of us. India is forever indebted to the selfless service and sacrifice of freedom fighters like Prafulla Chandra Sen.
Today, we are also celebrating the birth anniversary of freedom fighter and former Deputy Prime Minister of India, Chaudhry Devilal. He also served as the Chief Minister of Haryana. He was born on this day in 1914 in Tejakhera village of Sirsa district in Haryana to Shugna Devi and Lekram Sehag. A follower of Mahatma Gandhi, he was merely 15 years old when he was drawn towards the independence movement. As a 16-year-old, he participated in a demonstration by Lala Lajpat Rai in 1928.
His participation in the Satyagraha movement in the 1930s and the Quit India campaign during World War II led to his imprisonment on several occasions and put an end to his formal schooling. A true Gandhian, Devilal worked vigorously throughout his life to advance the cause of farmers and other rural people as well as so-called low castes.
Popularly known as Tau, Devilal knew the pulse of the masses and continued his activism on behalf of farmers after the independence of our nation.
As Chief Minister of Haryana, Devilal made several decisions benefiting farmers and rural people. He died on 6th April 2001 at the age of 85. Devilal remained committed to the cause of farmers till the end of his life. We salute the spirit and love for the nation of this great freedom fighter.
And that brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar, AIR News Ke Sang. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
India has signed a contract with Airbus Defence and Space Company of Spain for acquisition of 56 C-295MW transport aircraft for the Indian Air Force. Defence Ministry signed the contract with Airbus Defence and Space. It also signed an offset contract with Airbus Defence and Space. These contracts were signed following the approval accorded by the Cabinet Committee on Security earlier this month. The induction of C-295MW will be a significant step towards modernization of transport fleet of the Indian Air Force. The aircraft will give a major boost to tactical aircraft capability of IAF, especially in the northern and northeastern sector and Andaman and Nicobar Islands.
Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has said that despite challenges of COVID-19 pandemic, the Indian economy is on a sustained path of revival. Addressing a press conference at the Haryana BJP office in Chandigarh yesterday, she cited the rise in GST collections and direct taxes to support her assertion.
The steps we have taken for the economy, that directly or indirectly Indian economy is getting stronger. And this is not an ordinary period. It's a period which saw very many changes which were beyond our control. Particularly the corona pandemic, which now has lasted in some form or the other 1.5 years.
Sensex roared above the psychological 60,000 mark yesterday to create stock market history. At the stock markets, the BSE Sensex rose 163 points to end at a fresh record high of 60,048 yesterday. The Nifty at the National Stock Exchange gained 30 points to another all-time high of 17,853.
In IPL cricket, Chennai Super Kings defeated Royal Challengers Bangalore by 6 wickets in Sharjah last night. With this win, CSK returned to the top of the table ahead of Delhi Capitals on the basis of net run rate. Chasing a target of 157 runs, CSK posted 157 for 4 in 18.1 overs. Earlier, RCB posted 156 for 6 in 20 overs, with Devdutt Padikkal 70 and Virat Kohli 53 scoring half centuries.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. The national capital Delhi will have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Mumbai to have partly cloudy sky with possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. Chennai is expected to have generally cloudy sky with light rain. Kolkata will have partly cloudy sky with the possibility of moderate rain. Visakhapatnam will have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The city noted a minimum temperature of 26 degrees and the maximum is expected to be around 34 degrees. Bengaluru will have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Thiruvananthapuram is predicted to have cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Guwahati has forecast of cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Imphal will have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Shillong will have cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Aizawl will have a generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. The Tribune quotes the Prime Minister saying at the summit meeting with US President that India-US ties are set for a transformative decade. Stronger, closer, tighter. US heralds new India paradigm, headlines Hindustan Times. In talks with PM, Kamala Harris refers to Pakistan's terror role, reports the Pioneer. The shootout in Delhi's Rohini Court has been covered by most dailies on their front pages. Gangster falls to bullets in Delhi court complex, reads the headline in the Hindu. 2 attackers were dressed like lawyers, reports the Asian Age. The headline in the Economic Times reads, Sensex Asian rocking at 60,000, gains 25% in 2021, writes the Business Standard. Government inks rupees 20,000 crore deal with Airbus for 56C 295MW transport aircraft, 40 of which will be manufactured in India, reports the Statesman. And finally, the Asian Age informed that Germans will vote tomorrow to elect Merkel's successor.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address the UN General Assembly in New York this evening. Quad is a force for global good, says Prime Minister Modi. Asserts Quad countries have come together for welfare of humanity. US President Joe Biden appreciates India's decision to resume COVID-19 vaccine exports from next month. Holds wide-ranging in-person discussions with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Make in India initiative completes 7 years today. Cooperation Minister Amit Shah to address first mega conference of cooperatives in New Delhi this morning. Final results of UPSC Civil Services Examination 2020 announced. Shubham Kumar tops the rankings. High-powered transmitters at one of the world's highest radio stations in Kargil to be inaugurated today. Sensex roars above the psychological 60,000 mark to create stock market history. And in IPL cricket, Chennai Super Kings beat Royal Challengers Bangalore by 6 wickets in Sharjah last night to top the table. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.